Hello, people of the world. Today I'm going to be reading you Dirty Bertie. This is the third story in the story called Pet Sitter, and we're going to be reading chapter 1. If you'd seen my last video, I had finished the chocolate one when Dirty Bertie had eaten the big chocolate egg. So let's start reading. Chapter 1. Bertie was in the kitchen doing his homework. He sighed loudly. How was he meant to concentrate when Mum and Mrs. Nicely kept talking? He hoped she hadn't come round to invite him to one of Angela's parties. Last time it had turned out to be just him and a dozen girls in fairy costumes. So here's the picture, and then here's the cat. So, we're going to my sister's for the weekend, Mrs. Nicely was saying. But I can't think what to do about Puskins. Normally Mrs. Crab feeds him, but she's in hospital. Oh dear, said Mum. Exactly, said Mrs. Nicely. I'm really in a fix. In fact, I was wondering if you might do it. I'd be glad to, said Mum. But I've got a lot on this weekend. What about Bertie? Me? Bertie looked up from doodling a picture of Miss Boot. So here's a picture of Bertie doodling in shock. Mrs. Nicely frowned. She was hoping to find someone sensible. Bertie was about as sensible as a jelly sandwich. Well, I don't know, she said doubtfully. Are you good with cats? Not especially, said Bertie. I'm good with dogs. Bertie didn't mind cats, but he didn't really see the point of them. All they did was sleep, laze around, and eat. You couldn't take a cat for a walk or throw a ball for it to fetch. Puskins was too fat and idle to fetch anything. Anyway, he didn't see why he had to feed him. Mrs. Nicely sighed. Well, it would be doing me a great favor, and of course I'd pay you. Pay me? Cried Bertie. How much? Bertie, groaned Mum. It's all right, said Mrs. Nicely. Let's see, what about £5? £5? Bertie almost fell over his chair. That was more than double his pocket money. And he was feeding a fat moggy. Yippee! He was going to be rich. He was going to be rich. Bertie followed Mrs. Nicely next door, so she could explain what he had to do. Angela was in the kitchen practicing her ballet. She ran upstairs and came back with Puskins, who lolled in her arms like a furry pudding. Here he is, she trilled Bertie. This is Bertie. Say hello, Puskins. Bertie reached out a hand. Grrr, snarled the cat, arching his back. He likes having his tummy tickled, said Angela. You have to feed him twice a day. He only likes Kitty Crunch, Fuss Pot, thought Bertie. Whiffer would eat anything, even pizza off your plate. When does he go out? He asked. After tea, and only in the back garden, said Angela. Mostly he sleeps on my bed, don't you, pussy pops? Mrs. Nicely showed Bertie the cat food and gave him a front door key. Here's the picture of a fish bone, and then here's, forgot what the cat's name is, Angela and Bertie. One more thing, she said. Don't forget to turn off the burglar alarm. Burglar alarm? Said Bertie. No one had mentioned this before. Mrs. Nicely showed him a panel by the door with rows of buttons. It's quite simple, she said. You just punch in the code to turn it on or off. 427. Can you remember that? Remember? Bertie nodded. Repeat it to me. 47. Mrs. Nicely rolled her eyes. I'll write it down for you, she said. And lock the door when you leave. Have you got all that? Yes, said Bertie. Do the alarm, feed the cat, lock the door. Don't forget, warned Mrs. Nicely. The alarm's linked to the police station, so it must be turned off immediately. She watched Bertie stuff the key in his pocket. Possibly she was out of her mind. This was, after all, the boy who'd arrived at Angela's party, dressed as a worm. But it was too late to find someone else. All he had to do was feed a cat. Surely even Bertie could manage that. Here's the picture of Mrs. Nicely, Angela's mama, and Bertie. That's the end of the chapter, guys. Hope you have a lovely day, and goodbye.